All right, everybody. So today on the Detroit Hustle Podcast, season three. You guys, we're in season three. I can't believe it. And we have a familiar face. Well, her face wasn't on the first time she was here, but you've seen her photos. If you've been following me, you've seen her website, you've seen her book. And she's here now to catch us up on all she's been up to. My friend and colleague, Christen Rochon. How are you, ma'am? How are
Hey, hey, Melinda. I am
you?
great. I am great. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. I mean, it's just been so awesome the last couple of years that I've gotten to do this and get to know. It's just weird how I got to know stuff about people I thought I knew, and it's like, wow, I just learned about different facets of people, and then getting to follow you guys' journey. So I'm just so excited to give you an opportunity to talk about all the stuff you're working on. We're not even going to do this the old format way. I'm going to let you have the floor. We're just going to kind of talk. We're cool. We're girlfriends. We're just going to have a conversation. But I want you to plug yourself, and I want to give you a chance to just talk about all you've been working on. So,
Oh my gosh. So this
no,
is the
it's your
thing.
girl.
I am a woman of few words. Like I am an introvert. I listen, I take in, I absorb more than
Got
I. So this is going to be interesting.
Oh, I like
Just
pushing people out of their comfort zone.
right,
My
right.
specialty.
I think one of the biggest things I can say I'm excited about that I'm working on that I've actually birthed out is my new book, The Creative Discipline Project,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really something that was produced out of this pandemic. During our last chat, I was telling you
Mm-hmm.
about my event space and creative incubator, the Graffiti Park Studios that I was, so excited about launching and bringing to life in Detroit. And then the pandemic hit, and then I was like, okay, I'm not going to open a business that,
Mm-hmm.
requires people to come inside and
Oh my
co-work
gosh.
and collaborate during a
Mm-hmm.
pandemic. That doesn't work. So
Right.
I was really wondering, okay, well, what can I do to help people that even during this pandemic and beyond, they may have a great idea, but they need that encouragement. They need that idea, that person that can help take their idea and help them facilitate it into an actual whatever it is. So I was talking to my sister who's a playwright and talking to my brother who's an entrepreneur, and they've always kind of come to me for advice about, okay, what's the next step? What do I need to do to push this from point A to point B? And I realized I was always a checklist person. I was always a let's go back to the original why you wanted to do something and let that kind of
Mm-hmm.
push your purpose along. And that's
Mm-hmm.
why I created the Creative Discipline Project book. So,
I like it. I like it.
yeah.
So, as you know, I'm a business consultant by day, and I deal with a lot of this stuff all the time. It's my philosophy now is usually business problems aren't business problems, they're personal habit problems.
Hmm.
So
Absolutely.
tell us how your book could help someone maybe that's trying to start a business or maybe has been in business for a while and just is not seeing those results and they want to make some changes. How would this book help them?
So the book ultimately kind of takes you on a step-by-step journey from this is the idea, this is ultimately what I want to do, and I just don't know the steps to get me from point to point B. So what we look
Mm-hmm.
at, I mean, some of the chapters include, what does creative discipline mean to you? There, during that chapter, we kind of talk about some of the issues that I incurred during my creative process as far as kind of getting stuck. And then once you have a good definition on what this process will look for you, then you kind of go to like chapter 3, talking about intention, chapter 4, talking about the creative plan. So, really, what it is like I said, it's a step by step guide that doesn't just say, okay, these are some of the things that you can do to help you. It literally gives you an opportunity. And we have workbook pages in the book as well that says, okay, this is what your goal is. Now, let's kind of reverse engineer what that goal looks like. And that kind of gives you the step-by-step plan on what you need to do
Sure.
to accomplish that goal.
And I can see how this could be useful for somebody that needs to pivot in their business too. Because what have you been doing things and now they're not working? What do you do now? How do you still, you know, make a living doing something you enjoy or helping people when you can't help them the way you thought you were going to help them? So,
Absolutely. And I think something like that, it really goes down to your purpose. Like your purpose might not be to save everybody, to be
uh,
everybody's hero. And
uh,
I think That's like, you can't save everybody.
Can you
Everybody
say
ain't
that one
your,
more time?
you can't save everybody, and everybody ain't your ministry. I think that's something else that, like, you got to learn how to, and now I feel like I'm getting on a tangent, but you kind of have to learn to walk away from situations that you can't benefit, you can't change, you can't.
I'm trying to find some change for the collection plate when it comes by, because what you just said was a whole word and a half. And it is Sunday that we're taping on, so this is very apropos that you're preaching.
Listen, I'm gonna give everybody my
Man.
Cash App. No. And these are lessons learned. Like, 5 years ago, I probably wouldn't have had that revelation, but I've been through some things, and those things have kind of changed the way that I look at situations and approach them as well. So,
Gotcha.
you
Yeah, I
live, you learn,
mean,
you love.
and I know that marketing is kind of your area, and this sounds very similar to when you're trying to figure out who your target market is in your business. I always say,
Absolutely.
if you're trying to sell to everybody, you're selling to no one.
That's it. That's it. And,
So
and
I see
you
the
know, you
parallel.
figuring out your target audience is huge, because to your point, if you're selling to everyone, you're selling to no one. And one thing about this book is I really created it for entrepreneurs. I created it for creators or creatives, and really just those people that have a hard time not generating ideas, but actually executing those ideas, which in a sense, I won't say it's everyone, because some people have that, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and they are really good at it. They might not be great at creating just amazing ideas, but whatever they have, they know how to get it done. This is for those people that have these amazing grand scale, just large ideas, and really don't know where to start, or they may get a little bit in the weeds and then are like, okay, now what?
Mm-hmm.
So I really create this for them.
Man. Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk offline a little bit more about that, because whew, that's a lot of people, surprisingly. Even very creative people that seem to get a lot of things done still struggle with what to do next,
Absolutely.
or what to not do right now that I can do later better once I get this other stuff off my plate. That's another thing I
Mm-hmm.
talk about a lot. Like, okay, you can't do everything. Like, and it's hard too, because I never want to discourage anybody from pursuing their passions and their dreams. But when someone comes to you with 10 ideas, like, I want to do all this, help me. It's like, I can't really do that. But if you can narrow it down to maybe one or two, we can work on those, and
Mm-hmm.
then we can move on to three and four. But you have to be able to kind of pick your priorities. And that's a huge problem for some people. And I always say, make sure you're writing everything down. Like, don't stop the flow, but you can't do it all at once. Like, be
Yeah.
realistic and don't be hard on yourself, because the other thing this comes back to, and you might have something to say about this, is self care. Because if you're doing 10 things and you're trying to do 10 things at 100%, believe me, baby, you're going to burn out. And I hope we don't see it in the hospital somewhere, but I mean, people stroke out doing stuff like that.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
stress can kill. I saw when I see people on that brink come to me, I'm like, scale it back. You really need to scale it back. And they know it's
Yeah.
not working, but they just feel like they have to make it work. And I'm just like, it just hurts me, because I know how that feels. I have been there. I used to be that person, and I had to learn the hard way. It's not worth it.
It ain't, because the thing about it is, you can't pour from an empty cup. So if you're not taking care of yourself, guess what? You can't take care of nobody else. You can't help nobody else. You none of that. And for me, self-care has always been about my mental stability, my emotional stability. Of course, financial, having a roof over my head, all that good stuff. But honestly, it starts here. And I'm not a psychologist or anything like that, but I know if right here isn't clear, isn't concise, isn't just emotionally well, then I'm trash for anybody else. Like, I can't
Right.
contribute, I can't help you, I can't guide you, I can't assist you, I can't none of that. So while it may seem selfish, and some people may, I have to take time for myself, because ain't nobody else gonna do it for me but me.
Mm-hmm. And then you had to have that boundary to let people know that you require that time. They can't
Mhm.
have all your time. They can't have all your energy. They can have
Listen,
it later when you're ready to give it. But like you said, if you don't even have it for you, you can't give anybody else anything.
absolutely. I've
So,
I've been working home. I've been working remotely since March.
me
And
too.
with the whole pandemic and then just the racial charge that's in the world and in the States, and it began to take a toll on me to the point where I just had
Mm.
to let my team know, like, yeah, Mondays and Fridays, I'm taking off for the rest of the year. Like, we'll figure
Oh,
out everything else
hey,
Wednesday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm dialed in. But guess what?
right.
That beginning of the week and that end of the week, I'm gonna need to gather myself and have those moments for myself to get it together.
Mm.
And that was that. Like that, I
Now,
think,
I
and
could learn something from you there
that no,
because I don't
and
take off. My supervisor told me, she's like, yeah, I don't think you take enough time off. I'm like, I know, and I just don't.
and the thing about it too is I think it sets a healthy amount of boundaries between
Yeah.
yourself and supervisors, office, whatever.
Yeah.
Because for the most part, prior to this year, I would save all my vacation days to actually vacation. Like I'd hit
Mhm.
them with the, all right, I'm gonna be gone the week of yada 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 because
Yeah.
I'm gonna be, on this continent or somewhere else. This
Right.
year was like I'm stacking these boys and I'm still like my mental ain't feeling all right. I need to do
Right. Right.
something. So I had to figure out a way to really set aside time for me. And it's I
Mhm.
honestly, one of the best things I ever did for myself because
Yeah.
um no longer do I feel like going into Monday, like the weekend is already short as it is. So
Sure.
it's like, okay, you got one real weekend day, which is Saturday. Sunday, for
Mhm.
me, typically it's okay, winding down, preparing for the start of the week. But now taking off Mondays, it's like, okay, I actually have a full day that I can dedicate to any personal projects, passion projects,
Mhm.
facilitating whatever I need to with my family. And
Mhm.
it was like, gosh, why haven't I done this? Like, why did I wait to do this? Why?
I mean,
So,
as horrible as some people say 2020 has been, I think it's been pretty great because it's given me an opportunity to really reevaluate some things and look at things from a different perspective than I think I ever would had things not drastically changed in this way.
mhm.
So I'm very grateful for it. Like you, I've been working from home since March, so it was just I went through some phases. So I went through the DIY home phase. I KonMari'd my house. I did a lot of stuff just because I was here all the time.
Yeah.
But I'm happy because that it helped, elevate my space a little bit. Like because I started out doing work from my dining room table. Though I have an office, I don't know what I was doing that for, but I was sitting at the dining room table every day, and it made me have to look in my living room, which I was not pleased with. It wasn't bad, but I just knew it needed to be judged. I just
Uh-huh.
was staring at that for like 3 or 4 months straight, and I just got like, I'm gonna change this, and I just went into DIY redo mode, and it's really cute now. I don't really sit in there as much, but I like to admire when I walk through. I have plants now. I'm a plant
It's good
mommy.
to
See,
look at, right? It makes you happy when you,
yes,
yeah,
it
yeah.
does. It does. And then it forced me when I came into my office finally, I think around June or July, I zhuzhed my office up. I got a nice rug. I started adding little things in like, okay, so I wasn't paying enough attention about my home. And it's stuff I think about. Like I got Pinterest boards up the wazoo, but it really didn't force me to have to do.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, you keep saying that, but whatever. As long as you're at work most of the time, why do you care? And
Right.
so it made me care more. My room, I redid my room. I've done so many little things around my house, and I still have other plans. And like you, I like to bank up vacations. Like I love to just take those 2 solid weeks off around Christmas, and then I take probably another week off around my birthday in
Uh-huh.
January. And so I am doing that, but I don't ever go anywhere. That's my problem. I'll take the
Okay.
time, but I don't even make a trip.
Listen,
And I'm
let
like,
me put you, I'm gonna hip you to a little
oh,
secret.
oh,
Don't ever take big holidays off. Like the 2 weeks before Christmas, around Christmas, New Year's,
yeah,
ain't nobody doing no work, no way. So
true.
say those dates for when you actually want to use them.
Hmm.
I'm just saying that's just my
Okay,
personal
okay, no,
experience
I'm taking it in. I'm taking
from
it
working
in.
in the office the last 2 weeks of the year. mostly everybody takes off
That's
anyway.
true.
There's hardly ever real work that's going to get done. So
True.
it's like, don't waste your days when everybody else is wasting them. Waste them for when you're actually going to use them. Like,
Hmm.
that's just my experience, just sharing.
I need to consider that just because I never really. I mean, I'm so lame that I've waited to do like my big traveling. I still haven't been. I've only been on one cruise. The Bahamas. That's the only. I mean, mine is Canada, but that doesn't count. Detroiters don't count. Canada's another country. So it's like I am so behind, and I'm so bad because I've tried to plan trips, and it's something just always happens where I can't get there, and and so I'm no oracle apparently because in 2019 I said 2020 is going to be my big year of international travel. Ooh. So here here's hoping 2021 can be the beginning of that. But
Yeah.
I just need to do better with kind of what you're talking about with your book, being more intentional and making the plan and putting the money that like actually doing the things that will get me on the trip
Yeah.
instead of, oh, well, I just, just
Well,
being kind of blase
if there's
about it.
any consolation, listen, I had a whole, I'm big on actual vision boards, but I do my
Okay.
vision boards a little different. Instead of, just random photos that show, this is what I want my year to look like. I literally set my vision board up into quarters, and those quarters represent the quarters of the year. And then I also make sure that they have captions and have really detailed specifics. And then lastly, I always have it a copy in my planner. So I look at it every day, but also either on the refrigerator or in my bathroom on my mirror. That way, anytime when you're fumbling whatever through the house, you always have that guide to say, okay, are you doing something that's going to get you to this actual goal? Well, how's it looking for the quarter? Have you even started on it? And I feel like those things, now mind you, I did have on my vision board for third quarter, actually it was for fourth quarter, going on like a week-long cruise. I don't have control over that. So
Right,
that's
right.
a wash. I'm okay with
Hmm.
that. But
Yeah.
everything else for the year, I pretty much put that work towards completing. And it was
Sure.
like, okay, I like how this is evolving and how, and for next year, like I'm excited about 2021. I saw a meme that said something like, I haven't heard anybody saying 2021 is going to be y'all year. Don't let me find out y'all scared. And I took offense. Like, first of
Right.
all, I'm not scared. First of all, I'm
Hmm.
planning. I am being very intentional about my 2021. So,
I
you
love
know,
it. I
yeah.
love so, and this is just me wanting to know more about your process. Are these like copies of the actual board that you're posting around the house, or are you making like what are you doing?
So there's an app called Canva. You can go to
Yes, I
canva.com
love
and
Canva.
love Canva. Let's say 2, 3 years ago, I had a vision board party where I printed out like larger construction paper boards, and then I put mine inside of a photo frame. So I hung that in my bathroom. But last year, I was like, instead of cutting up magazines and all of this stuff, let's just do it on Canva. So I created it on Canva, and I went to Kinko's, printed it out, and punched holes in it so I can put it inside of my planner. And then
So you
I
just did like stock photos, or
stock photos and text.
okay,
That's essentially
and you
what.
made your own text.
Yep. I made my own text. And
Yeah,
that way you can be a whole lot more concise about
specific.
what you want. Yes, absolutely. Because if
Yeah,
I
because
see
sometimes you
another,
can't find that spot on thing in a magazine. You're like, this will do, but that's not really what I meant.
this will do, I guess, sure.
It's
But
close enough.
exactly. Like,
Okay.
I know the first thing you look through the magazine, where's money at? Money. I want to make sure
Right.
I make more money. And then you get that on there, and then it's like, okay, how is
Travel.
money going to
Okay,
come? Oh,
travel. I
travel,
need a
right.
computer. I need a computer keyboard.
Is it an airplane on here? Where? Okay. And then somehow shoes always winds up on it because in magazines
Hair.
you're always a hair, always. So it's like with Canva, you can be so much more concise and intentional and deliberate about what you want to accomplish, how you want to accomplish it, and
Mhm.
then the timeline that you want to get it done. And
I
I kind of
love
take those
this.
same elements and put them in the book too. So in case you don't have an idea on how you want to do your vision board, some of the workbook pages in the book take that same concept. This is what your goal is. This is what your weekly steps will be. Do you have any stockholders that'll help you, or people that are in your circle that's going to help contribute to you achieving your goal? Okay, can you depend on them? Okay, so what will this look like in 6 weeks? What will this look like in 36 weeks? And it really takes you from that idea to my step by step by step, and people that are going to help me achieve it.
Yes, I love this. So this is my vision board story, and it's really weird. I kind of feel ashamed of this, but I don't care. I'm going to share it. So I made a vision board back in like 2012, and I have not made. I'm take that back. I made one additional one maybe 3 years later, but from those, I didn't want to make a new one. I'm like, but I haven't done all the things, so I feel like making a new one would be stupid. And I think that's a dumb idea, and I don't know why I did that. But the kind of cool thing about it is some of the stuff actually did happen, and I didn't realize it. So I was looking. The second one I made, I put hair on there because at the time I wanted to lock. And I did locks back in 2014. I did traditional locks, but I took them out. I combed them out 9 months later. So I kind of felt like, oh, I had this on my vision board. I was gonna like rip them off, but I never did. I left them. And when I look back at it a few months, I'm like, that's so funny. I got lots again. And I didn't even like think about the board when I got them. It was like you said, the purpose behind me getting them was the reason I got them again. I wasn't satisfied with the first experience. And then I really wanted sister locks after a while. I had listened to some really influential people talk about it, and I really examined it further. I was like, I think this might really fit me better than the traditional, which is why that didn't work. And so that actually happened. I'm like, no, that's kind of cool. But I just, are you familiar with Paul Carrick Brunson?
Yeah.
Okay, so he has a community, BWP, Better with Paul. And I joined that because I've been following him for years on and off. And I actually we have like a little baby association. I've like emailed him directly. He probably doesn't know me, but I feel like I can say that. But I joined his community recently, and they did a vision board with Richie Holmes. I remember her. She has 3 names, but she's kind of like a Martha Stewart. She's big on decor and lifestyle. And she talked about vision boards, and I was like, and she said she does one every year. And I was like, you know what? I need to do a new one. I decided I was going to do a new one before 2021. So you just kind of confirmed with your story that I really do need to do it. And now you've given me a mode of doing it that I prefer, because I was thinking about that. Like, I don't get magazine subscription anymore. I read magazines through my library app for free. So I stopped. I was a magazine hoarder. So I stopped doing that. And I don't want to go get magazines to make. So I like your idea, and I'm going to use that. Thank you very much. And I'm sure people in the audience are like, yes, great idea. Thank you, Kristen. So thank you, Kristen. But yeah, I'm ready for a new vision board so I can be more specific.
Yep. And then also just think of it as, some people think of it as, oh, it's just this grand wish board. It's not a wish board. It's literally like a life map. Mm-hmm. And it's a life map that's like concise, that's in front of you, I don't know where I would be without having a vision board. Because even some days where we all have those days where you just get up and you just don't want to do nothing, and you're just like, Lord, let me just get through this day. Let me Netflix and chill it away. And honestly, there are days where you just don't want to do anything. Yeah. And it could be because you're discouraged. It could be because for a myriad of reasons. Right. But having those vision boards and those ideas and having those things in front of you with a detailed plan on how to accomplish them through whatever, text, photos, having those in front of you, it always helps. It does. It does.
I have a thing that I have been doing the past 3 years, I want to say. So the Desire Map, Danielle Laporte, she's like a spiritual guru type. And I ended up taking this program that was with her materials, but it was a local person teaching it. And it's the Desire Map, and you choose, I think it's 5 words for how you want to feel. So it's like a vision board, but with words. And so she had us pick the 5 words. And I remember I don't think I did it that year, but the following year when I did it again, I like found a pretty background on Canva
Uh-huh.
and I framed it. So I keep that on my desk. So that I do that. That's kind of like my vision board exercise that I do consistently. But I noticed too that that works the same way. So like my words for next year, I already put my next year up because I want to start getting in that mode early. And so for 2021, I want to feel protected. I
Mhm.
want to feel cherished. I want to feel giddy. I want to feel relaxed and I want to
Uh-huh.
feel elevated.
I love that.
And so I have like a little flower here. I'll show you. I'll show you guys. So you're gonna see the reverse, but then y'all have like a little flower. I'm obsessed with flowers now,
Okay,
and so I
yeah.
just have like a nice little framed reminder of how I want to feel. So like you said, when I'm in that not so giddy or not so cherished or not feeling that, I can
Mhm.
remind myself like this is where you want to be. Figure out how to get there. What do you need to do to get in that space? And then I have this long board of all these things I want to accomplish. So I think I use words more than pictures. So
Okay.
maybe that's my thing. Maybe that's my jam, and I just need to play on that. Maybe it's because I like to write. I don't know what that is.
No, but I mean, it sounds like you know what you want to feel, you know what you want to encompass, you know what, and I think that's key. It's almost like having a North Star.
Yeah.
I had met at one point the CEO of Essence Ventures, Rich Lou Dennis,
Okay.
who also at one point owned
Oh, Shea
Shea
Moisture.
Moisture, yes.
Mhm.
And he had shared, it was at the Black Enterprise Women of Power Summit a few years ago.
Mhm.
And he had shared about his North Star for the things that he does. So, the North Star with Shea Moisture was pretty much, learned from his mother. And
Mhm.
I don't want to share the story incorrectly. So, but
Right.
that was also the reason why
She
he
was the
positioned.
inspiration for the brand,
Yeah,
right?
and that
I
was
remember the
why
brand story.
he positioned the brand and made it equitable enough so he could sell it and purchase
Mhm.
Essence Ventures, which in turn,
Mhm.
bought Essence from I think it was Time Inc. So,
Mhm.
I think at the end of the day, which also falls into whole purpose and knowing your why and then figuring out what your intention is, I think it really comes from that sentiment of having a North Star. And
Mhm.
whether it's through photos, whether it's through, graphic imagery or, specific captions that you can use on a vision board, I think as long as you have that North Star, you'll never feel too discouraged or too off the
Yeah.
path because you have something kind of helping you lead the way.
That's so crazy. So now I'm gonna retract my whole dumb story because I actually have had a vision board that just wasn't pictures. So I was doing something else, but it was the same thing.
Yeah.
See, you just helped enlighten me, and so I hadn't even thought about that intensely. I was just like, I need to do another vision board because it's so, it's so ubiquitous in the culture. That's like what people start doing this time of year.
Mhm.
And I don't know, I just felt like I wasn't doing it right. And it's like, well, maybe that just wasn't my thing. And I think
Right.
that's the other thing, not only finding your North Star, but what's the right North Star for you
That's
and not
it.
picking somebody else's or what you think
That's
your North Star should be, which
that's
happens
key.
all the time.
Because what's for you might not work for me, and what's for me might not work for you.
Exactly. 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 So this has been so cool. Now, so we talking about the book. Like, what is your, I guess, what are your goals with the book? What do you hope to achieve by publishing this book?
So my real hope for the book is just to help, if I can help one entrepreneur like figure out a way to get unstuck or get beyond that roadblock that's prohibiting them from achieving their goals or launching that business or launching that blog, then I feel like I've done my job.
Okay.
I love to help people. I have a passion for people, but I also have a passion for people like producing and
Mm-hmm.
being able to actually say, this was the idea I had, and look what I did with it. And that's one of
Mm-hmm.
my biggest things. And I'm like, I can't help everybody because everybody not my ministry. But if I could create something that they may not know me personally, but a friend of a friend of a friend told them about it. They saw it on Amazon. I was like, I'm gonna check it out. If
Yeah.
that can help anyone, then I'm a happy camper. And I feel like I've done what I was supposed to do, which was in
Um,
some way or some capacity help others, realize or achieve their goals.
okay. And then another question about the book. does the book help you figure out how to define your North Star? Is that part of the book or your intention?
So I do talk a little bit about that and what is your creative discipline, or what does creative discipline mean to you? Because creative discipline is not a set, well, one, let's take it down a step further. Discipline is not a sexy word. Like, it's not like,
Nope.
hey, we're going to get our discipline. Like, that's not like jazz hands. That's not a thing.
Groan.
It's right.
Grumble,
It's not
grumble.
a thing. Right. So I really wanted to take, but also
Said
it's
jazz
not,
hands. I'm sorry. I'm just sorry.
because it's not something that you say the word discipline and typically people roll their eyes or grimace or, okay, so you're telling me I'm not doing enough or whatever. And it's like, well, no, you got to look at it like this. Every single successful athlete, successful actress, successful business person, entrepreneur, billionaire has some level of discipline at their core. And when you break it down to that common denominator, it's like, okay, so we know that discipline is necessary. We know that it's required. But when you talk about creativity and being a creative and producing things and, launching that business, then that's a different type of discipline that's required, because on one side of your brain, you have all these grand ideas and all these things you want to do. But then the other side of your brain, typically it's either like you're creative or you're analytical.
Right.
I'm
I'm
not great.
both.
I was gonna say, I'm not great in math, but I'm extremely analytical. So I kind of have that same thing going on. And I'm able to identify, okay, these are some of the core disciplines that I have to have in order to move the needle on what I need to accomplish. So I don't know if I answered your question, because I feel like
I don't either. I'm just taking it all. This is great. I
I
love
was
to
gonna
just
say, I feel like
talk
I'm just
and
rambling.
no, it's all relevant and it's all things people want to talk about and need to hear. Honestly, and some people that run across this podcast, they're gonna be like, "Man, I needed to hear this, or I really wasn't sure. This is awesome." And I also intend to drop some book recommendations because that's just something I do in life. I did that before we got on the broadcast, and I'm actually going to recommend the same two books I recommended to you. So when it comes to all of this, when it comes to habits, when it comes to discipline, I've just read two books recently. I kind of procrastinate on things, and I'm getting better with that. But I finally did listen to Atomic Habits by James Clear. If anybody out there listening needs issues, you don't need issues. If you're having issues with figuring out how to rewire how you think and how you the kind of habits you have, you want to change some negative habits into more positive habits. This is a great read. He breaks it down so well. It's not complicated, but it's so profound. But it's almost too simple in my mind, but it's so relevant, and he's so right. He hits the nail on the head so many times. You're just gonna be like, yes, yes, yes. But it's really good to get that reinforcement. I love to be repeated. I like things repeated to me because it just helps solidify it and confirm it for me. So that's one. And then when you talk about discipline, David Goggins, Can't Hurt Me. I mean, it's just an experience. You just have to experience it for yourself. I do recommend the Audible book because he has his ghostwriter read the book, but then they break out and they discuss it like a podcast in between chapters, which is something that's never been done before. And it makes it really rich because you get to find out a lot of the backstories to stuff, and you get to hear just kind of how a lot of the things in the book came to be and what he thought about it. And, you get a little more insight on the events in the book that are highlighted. So I thought that was a really great thing they did. It's long. I think I listened to that in like 2 or 3 days. I was killing it. I know I started on a Sunday and I was just like, yes, that was church for me that day. Cause it's a mind blowing book. I really respect that guy. And I was guilty of kind of scrolling past him on YouTube because he would pop up in my feed, different interviews he had done. And I'm like, I don't need to hear about some Navy SEAL. That's not my thing. And I just kept glossing over it. And I finally said, I was laying in bed one morning. I said, what is he talking about? I want to hear what he had to say. And I was like, oh my God, I wish I had done this sooner.
Yeah.
It's amazing. He's a really amazing guy. And I just respect him so much. He really made me question why I don't push myself more physically, because You know, I've been in decent shape most of my adulthood, but I always will stop right at that point of becoming like phenomenal with my body because
Mhm.
I think I have all of these weird beliefs and fears about really going there and pushing myself. Because I'll get right on the edge, like start to see the abs, like, ooh, look at that. And then
You stop.
I
Like,
don't
this is
I
good
don't
enough.
maintain it. Yeah, like I don't need to be that ripped. And then I'm like, but I want six pack abs. It's like this little voice has been in my head for most of my life, just berating,
Uh-huh.
like, do it, you can do it. And I just eat her away. So I'm done with that. And people kind of question me because I'm not big, but it's like I don't
Uh-huh.
have to be. I'm not lean. I'm not toned. Not nearly as I'd like to be. And that's something I'm kind of hard on myself about. And a lot of people around me are just like, but I don't understand. You're a 5'4". I was like, yes, if you don't understand, when I got down to a 2, I was super happy with it. But I
Yeah.
didn't do it with intention. It just kind of happened and I didn't maintain it. So I
Uh-huh.
would like to be more intentional about that. And I really do want to see what I can do. You know, you get curious about what can I really accomplish if I tried? If I wanted to, I can be a bodybuilder. I don't want to do that necessarily, but I know what's possible for the human body. So I know I'm not pushing myself even half as far as I could just to look better. And that
Mhm.
bothers me now because I'm becoming more disciplined and I'm being more willing to come outside of that comfort zone that I have. So I'm like, it's
Mhm.
time to push. I want to be more outdoorsy. I want to hunt and fish and hike
She
and
said,
camp.
I want to
Stuff
hunt.
I've never done. I'm like, and I'm in Florida. Everybody does that stuff around here, and I'm like, I want to so
Listen.
bad, but I'm not in circles of people that do it. So now I have to put myself in those circles because otherwise, no one's ever going to say, "Hey, let's go kayaking." I don't know people that kayak like that.
Mhm.
So now I
Well,
have to,
also you're in Florida, so that I feel like kayaking one is one of the easiest things to jump into in
ma'am, I could
Florida.
go right. I could probably go somewhere right now and be in a kayak probably in about an hour. I just
Yeah.
don't do it. It is a. I think it's a bit of a fear and just kind of a this level of uncertainty. Like, but I've never done it before. And
Mhm.
then too, I hate to go there. I'm definitely not, a race woman, but that's just not something black people do a lot. You just don't,
I
that's
get
not
it.
necessarily our bag. And I'm
Uh,
not saying that no black people, I know black people that do kayak, but it's just like, it's not going to be in large groups. You know what I'm saying? And I had to get out of that kind of thinking too. It's the last few years has been me getting out of being so attached to certain stereotypes. It's like that's not, you determine your own reality.
mhm. And then at the
So
end of the day, too, it's like you never want to live the last days of your life with a bunch of regrets.
exactly.
So, and I think there's a saying or phrase or something that talks about, well, actually, I talk about it in the book. I was going to say this.
Okay.
There's a poem called The Dash, which basically explores the idea of, you have the day you're born, the day you die, and the dash. And that's the most important period. That's the most important period of those three figures. And it's like, I want to live a life that I feel like, you know what, I did this, 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 this. Nope, I'm good. I'm good, God. You can take me because I feel
Yeah.
like, and that's what we all should aspire to live. So I'm gonna need you to get on the kayak, like.
Oh, I will. It's all you should see my board. I have all kinds of fun things like golfing. I have golf clubs, golf shoes, golf clothes. I don't golf. I have a golf license plate, a personalized golf license plate.
I'm
I
gonna
did
need you to
that to
get on
push
the
me to
greens.
do. I know, and I thought that was gonna make me feel more accountable to myself, and it hasn't worked yet. So I just gotta go.
So let me ask you about this, the golfing
Yes,
thing. What made
yes,
you want to get into golf? Like, because that's a big commitment, actually having a
right.
personalized license plate with golf. So I need to
Oh, it
know.
wasn't cheap either, and I
I
didn't get it.
know.
Well, I think so. Originally, I got introduced to golf from just men in my life. My father liked golf, and then a lot of men that I dated in the past and the present. That's just something I just gravitate towards golfers for some reason. And so the times that I got into it and actually did it, it was because I was with them because they did it. And I know part of it is that I think I kind of rely on someone else to bring me along to participate in it instead of me just forging my own journey on it. What got me out of that thinking was the idea that the game is really you against you. I love that.
Oh.
And I want to get better at challenging myself in that way because I know too. So I'm just being all out here today. I'm not the most patient person on the planet.
Uh-huh.
And I'm probably the least patient with myself because I am a high achiever and I'm very goal oriented. When I don't do well at things at first, I get really hard on myself. And in golf, the trick is if you have a bad hole, you if you don't want to keep having bad holes, you got to get out of that mode of thinking. You have to just say, okay, you got to shake it off and get on to the next one. Compose yourself. You can't be in your feelings, mad, or you're
Mm-hmm.
going to mess up the next one. So you have to always be able to get back into whatever that zone is, that neutral or whatever, so
Mm-hmm.
that you can execute on the next one because you can turn it around on the next swing. But then you also have to do the same thing when you're doing well. Just because you did well on the last hole doesn't it's not an automatic application to the next. You have to be in that space to execute well. But if you get too excited or too cocky, you might think, oh, I got this, but you're not even in your zone anymore. You're,
Mm-hmm.
like you say, you're only as good as your last success or whatever.
Right.
You can't, ride on your laurels with that. You have to really be good consistently. And we've seen it happen when we watch golfers do it and how could he blow that? Or he's a professional. And it's like, but it's all internal. You
Mm-hmm.
can have a great caddy, it could be wonderful weather, you can have all the right equipment and tools, but if you can't get your mind right, good luck to you. And I think it's a really great application for life. And that's
Uh,
why I'm so intrigued by the game. And I love to watch it. And I just gotta push myself. And it's got to the point where I get embarrassed telling people this because it's obviously showing that I'm not even, practicing what I preach. Like, do it then. What are you talking about? Quit
uh-huh.
making excuses and just get your butt out there. So it's like
Mm-hmm.
now it's come to that time where it's just like, just get it done. So I'm like, well, maybe if I take lessons and I use that as my way to in my own right go as myself and not the partner of or the accompanied guest of and doing it on my own, volition, that would be the first step. And then it will give me the confidence that I'm doing. Because the other thing is when you go with somebody else, they tell you, oh, you're not doing this. Oh, change that. Here, grip it like this. Swing it. Oh, that was good, but change this. So it's like I think I like that part, but then that's taking me out. Now I'm not paying attention or I'm
Right.
not knowing exactly what the things are because I'm waiting for them to tell me. So
Mm-hmm.
it's really me taking for, control and ownership of my own swing and my own game.
Mm-hmm.
And it's super psychological and it's weird, but I'm finally tired of telling people the excuses as to why I haven't done it. It's like, oh, you sound so terrible. Just go. Please just
Just
go
do
so you don't have to
it.
tell the story anymore. But I
Uh,
don't mind using myself as an example because when people look at me and they see the things I have accomplished, they don't know about that stuff. And I'm like,
uh,
look, I'm not perfect. I got things. There's plenty of things I need to work on. And that happens to be one of them. And it doesn't seem huge, but it's important to me because it's something that I really do identify with and I want to have more experience with. So
mm.
it's another thing.
Well, I'm gonna need to see you on them greens soon,
Yes,
because
I know. I need to
that's a
come get
lot of
hey,
commitments.
it is, and it's fun when it's something you enjoy though. Then it
Mhm.
doesn't feel like that, and and I know a lot of golfers are very addicted to golf, and they're just like, I hope to not go that extreme with it, but it is a very challenging game, and it's something you
Mhm.
have to work on constantly. You're never, like you said something about being satisfied with living your life to a certain point, but there's a Abraham Hicks, if anybody knows about Abraham Hicks, he says um, you'll never finish it. You'll never get it all done. So
Mhm.
just take that thought out of your mind. You're never going to finish it. You're never going to get it all done, but that doesn't mean you don't shoot for the stars. And you know what I'm saying? You still go for it as much as you can, but you'll never get it all in.
Mhm.
I think there'll always be another
Facts.
idea or another desire. I don't
Mhm.
think that ever goes
Absolutely.
away. I think that's just innate in us as people. So
Yeah.
what else? Aside from the book, is there anything else you want to tell us? I know, well, let's go back to your last episode. You talked about Graffiti Park Studios. And so we know that COVID kind of threw a little wrench in that. What has happened and what's the next move with that?
So, Graffiti Park Studios, it was scheduled to be launched this year, actually, March, April of this year. And COVID and the pandemic kind of, threw me for a little loop like it did all of us. So, what I decided to do is kind of use this pandemic to my advantage. Like, one of my biggest things is I love to find like the positive or the silver lining in the clouds or the situation. And I was like, okay, I really wanted to launch this. It's going to have to take a back seat. It's not going to be launched this year. I'm looking at Q2 of next year, possibly, but I'm not afraid to push it back even further if I feel like it's not time yet. So my biggest thing is, that's going to happen, but it's really, taking this opportunity, the pivot that has been the power of the pivot has kind of been my mantra since March of this year. And it's really been, okay, you can't do this, but what can you do in the meantime? And I was able to find a way to kind of share and kind of put the whole idea of what Graffiti Park Studios was meant to be, like in a personal way with creatives, put it in a book form, in a workbook form, and share that with the masses. So Graffiti Park Studios ain't going nowhere. It's coming soon. Just taking a little bit longer than we expected.
Yeah, no, and I like what you said about not being afraid to make changes. And I think you have to always be open to that because, like, we don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that. But I'm sure that whenever that day comes, it's going to be fabulous. I hope to be able to come visit and check it out.
We're going to have to do like a live recording.
Yeah,
Our next one, we've got to do like a live recording from Graffiti Park Studios.
Phenomenal.
Got to do it. It's got to happen.
Yeah. So I know you're doing some campaigning right now. Can you talk a little bit about that? Is that something you want? Well, I don't know if this will be relevant by the time this airs, but still, just kind of let the people know what you're up to, because I just want to make sure I give you an opportunity to talk about all of that stuff.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just on the personal front, I've partnered with Chevrolet. We're doing some fundraising, just helping Gleaners Food Community Bank here in Detroit, as well as the United Way. That's something, what I've actually transitioned is I used to do like a whole lot of like car reviews and different things like that with automotive companies. And I was like, you know what? There is a lot going on in the world, and not everybody's going to care that this has a V8 and 12 USB ports and all of it. Like, what are you doing to help impact others? And not to sound like I'm the champion for the people, but I feel like any little bit anybody can do, it can help. You don't need to have a full on, hey, this is what I'm doing. But for me, it was like, okay, hey, I'm doing this. Friends and family, y'all want to help me out. And there's a phrase, it's a cinch by the inch, it's just hard by the yard. And that basically talks about anything that you want to do. It's easy when you have a small goal and you have people to help you with it. It's just harder when it's this grandiose idea and you don't have any support and don't have any action towards it. So partnered with Chevrolet, we're actually garnering up enough donations, and with Myers, going to do a donation with them to Gleaners Food Bank soon. Actually, I don't even know if by the time this comes out, it'll probably
have happened already.
It'll have happened already, yeah. So, but I'm just taking that initiative with a lot of brands that I work with in the future, because it's great to have a car or have this product and pitch it to people and share my experience. But I think it's even deeper and even greater to somehow have that impact others more so than just myself. So that's what I'll be working on. Started with Chevrolet, have a few different other campaigns in the hopper with other brands for 2021, and just really excited about the upcoming year, making an impact. Like, you can find out everything on candidlykristen.com, the book as well, creativedisciplineproject.com. And yeah, just really excited about what the year ahead's going to bring.
Yes, me too. I mean, I follow you. I always have. So, I'm always gonna like pump you up. And I'm just very inspired just watching your journey. Oh, you left something out. You just did something really big a couple months ago.
What did I do?
There was like this ceremony with the mortarboard.
Wait. What was this?
You graduated, you got a degree.
Yeah, girl, listen, it's funny because honestly, like I'll remember that. Sometimes I'll get down on myself, like, girl, you're not doing enough. You need to keep
Oh,
pushing. You need to, and I forget,
Lord.
like, girl, you
Are we
literally had.
related?
I, I think it's a Black woman thing. Like I think in us, it is ingrained. I think there was some point where God was making Black women like, okay, let's put something in there. Like you're not satisfied with the successes that you've accomplished. Yeah. So earlier this year, dab smack in the middle of a pandemic, I graduated from Michigan State University with my master's degree in digital media strategies. So super duper excited about that. I didn't have a graduation. Like we did the online
Yeah,
thing,
no, yeah.
which sucks, but I mean, that
It's still
was,
yours.
listen, I worked hard for that.
You earned that.
So I earned that. So super excited
Mhm.
about that. I promise you, it'll probably take me sitting down and I would encourage anybody to do this too, and just going over the year. Like, because of course it was like your January, February, then it was like March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November,
Yeah.
December. And it's very easy to forget like the small wins and the
Mhm.
small accomplishments and the big accomplishments that you had throughout the year that, kind of will encourage you after the fact. Like, yeah, this has been a challenging year for all of us. One, you've made it, which is a whole accomplishment within itself. Like,
Yes.
if you made it to December 2020 in your right mind, breathing, a roof over your head, even if it's $1 in your bank
Can
account,
you pass me the plate? Can you pass the plate?
there's a high level of gratitude that you should have because a lot of people did not.
Right.
And even it's so easy to feel like, oh well, I didn't do this, or I didn't finish this, or oh, I wanted to. But that having that moment and that level of gratitude, and we've all heard it before, gratitude will open your heart to receive more abundance. And but
Mhm.
seriously, the year
It
2020, if
will.
it ain't teach you nothing, it should teach
Mhm.
you to be grateful for what you got, for
Yes.
that air in your body, for that
Yes.
man that's somewhat right. Sometimes it depending
Most
on
of the
who,
time.
most of the time, right? It really does. So yeah, I almost forgot about graduating
I
earlier this year.
know, but no, I know I congratulated you, and honestly, maybe in a subconscious way, you inspired me. I'm in a program right now, so it's like being able to see that around me. It helps so much, and you just never know who's watching you and who's being inspired by what you're doing. So it's just really awesome, and I just wanted to give an opportunity to give you kudos for that because you did that.
Thank
You
you.
finished that in the midst of COVID. Um,
I'm not
hello.
listen, I'm not gonna lie. I told my I told my I can't remember what he's called, like program director. I was like,
Uh,
listen, I'm not gonna lie, this thing is getting to me. I've never been so honest with like people in leadership in my life than I have this year. Because typically I'm a
mm-hmm.
put your head down, you'll get
Mm-hmm.
through
Make
it,
it
do the
work.
work,
Yeah.
make it work.
Mm-hmm.
But this year I had to tell some folks like, yeah, no, I'm having troubles here. I literally had to tell
Mm-hmm.
my boss at one point. He was like, hey, how's it going? I think this was like right the Monday after George Floyd and the riots and
Mm-hmm.
everything. And he was like, how are you doing? And typically I'll be like, all is well, just trying to make it through. I was like, yeah, I'm not doing well. Like, I'm gonna
Gotcha.
be very honest. And this has been a really
Gotcha.
challenging year where a lot of us, we're not well. We haven't been doing
Mm-hmm.
well. It's been
Right.
hard, but we've made it. It's
Yeah.
December. We've made it.
And that's
So
funny. Kind of the reverse happened to me. My supervisor reached out. Well, my director reached out to me to ask, like, I know it's a lot of things going. I can't imagine how you must be feeling. And
yeah.
honestly, not to overshadow what happened with that situation, but I was more or less experiencing stress from the COVID stuff because I got a lot of family and friends in Detroit. So I'm down here in Florida, like, ooh, I had a
Yeah.
cousin that was an essential worker going to work every day. And I'm like, talking to her and just hoping my family's all right. I did lose a family member and I
I'm
lost
sorry.
one of my friends, her dad passed. So it's
Yeah.
like, that kind of hit close to home. And it's like, man, and I couldn't be there, that was impossible to support. So I had to support from afar. I had to think about, how that was impacting my hometown. And not only that, just being on social media, seeing other people's losses on a daily basis, just about. I think
Daily.
somebody from Cat, I didn't know them, but they were about our age, passed away. He was very influential in the community. I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but there were some big losses in the community there, and it was just like, oh, that just really, it did not feel good for me. And
No.
I think it was probably even a little harder because I'm like, dang, I'm miles away from that. Like, I'm here isolated in my house by myself. I don't have any threats. And it's just
Hmm.
like, man, that sucks to just watch that from afar and
Yeah.
to not know whether or not my family members were going to be safe or not. That was really hard. So that was a big stressor for me. And then like with the news stuff, I just had to turn that off. I couldn't watch that and deal with this and work. And it was like, ugh, too much, too much. I
Hmm.
have to just dial it all back. So news, no. I'll catch a headline here or there, but I can't do the news.
Yeah.
Not
It's like
not gonna work for my
you
mental.
have to do what you can like to preserve your mental. And this year
Exactly.
has definitely taught a lot of us that.
Hmm.
Um, so I get it. I get it.
Yeah.
And COVID
I
has
even got to the
hit our
point now where,
community.
yeah, no, no. The community, and it, and I think too, I wish I were closer where I could do more to contribute positively. I don't feel like I really have the ability to do what I like, and so that's also it's like a hindrance. So
Hmm.
it's kind of a twofold thing, but yeah, just kind of keeping my space clear. I even got to the point where, and this seems weird, maybe a little off topic, but my music, because I walk a lot. I go out and walk. That's one thing I did consistently is I went out and took a walk every day. I walk every day. And when I'm listening to my music, I'm like, and these are songs I love, songs I grew up with. I'm like, these lyrics are terrible. I can't listen to this every day. You gotta go.
Uh,
Maybe if I get nostalgic, I'll revisit. But you can't be in the play. You can't be in the rotation. I got to take you out. Because what
uh,
did they just say? Listen to this? No, I can't.
I
So I'm
can't.
changing my music up like crazy. I'm trying to. If you have any new artist recommendations or anything that's really cool that you like, please, send it my way because I need all the positive music I can get.
So I'm weird. Like I think from honestly from like finishing school, one thing I learned is like I if I hear music or lyrics, it's very difficult for me to not concentrate on those words or those words affect me in some way.
Mm-hmm.
So I've gotten into lo-fi hip hop, which is like
Oh,
a infusion of like jazz, hip hop beats, all instrumental,
okay.
and I'll listen to that like if I need just to just chill out and just
Mm-hmm.
but you want to hear something that you know I will say it kind of levels me out because I could be
Okay.
hype and I'll listen to that, or I can be low and listen to that, and it brings me to like a nice level. So that's what I can say. Apple Music, they have a station. Even on YouTube, it's a channel where it's just all
Just
lo-fi hip hop
lo-fi.
beats.
Okay. I'll look into
So,
that because I'm like, I've been going more to old school, like rock and roll. And then it's even some like, so I got some music recommendations when I was in IKEA. They were just playing, it was like some speaker display. And I was like, what's
uh,
this music? And I Shazammed all the people on there and then went home and listened to all this stuff. And this one chick, her album was, every time her song come on, I'm like, who is this again? Oh, yeah, that's that girl from IKEA. I
wait,
like
who is
her.
it? What's the name?
Her name is Natalie. Hold on, I gotta look at my phone because I always forget her name. But she's pretty cool, and I like her sound. It's just super catchy. She's
Okay.
pop. She's kind of
Okay.
like I don't know if you call her alternative. She might be like pop, but kind of like indie. I would say she's like indie pop. She
Okay.
almost is teetering. She's real close to R&B, but not quite. If that
Okay.
makes sense. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna pull her up real quick. Artist. That'll be the easiest way for me to find her. I know her first name is Natalie. Natalie Prass. Prass. And her
Okay.
it's just it's a real catchy. It's that puts you in the mind of that California hipster vibe. That's what it makes me think. It's got mellow, but it's still some of her stuff's really upbeat. But she's got a great voice too.
Okay.
So she's one of my
Nice.
new favorites, and I'm just trying to find kind of off the beaten path stuff. Like I just can't get into some of this. I don't do the mumble rap stuff. I'm not real into a lot of the newer artists. It's just like I can't do it.
No,
So I
no.
go
I mean,
old school a lot.
we've officially hit that stage where if it
Mhm.
ain't old school, and by old school we mean like the latest '90s hip hop,
Right.
R&B, like we're not into it.
I
I
can't do it.
I can't do
Can't
it.
do it. And I'm
Not
the
even
worst
try.
because like I talk about how vulgar it is, but I love Prince. Prince is my favorite, so he gets a pass, but I can't listen to anything else. I'm like, okay, I can go from Erotic City to Darling Nikki and not give like what? It's Prince though,
Not skip a beat until you listen, and then you like,
and it's
oh
like, well, yeah, but it's still sounds good. This is the soundtrack of my childhood. You don't understand, so I can make excuses for him, but
yeah.
too many others. That's really hard for me. But anyway, so I don't want to keep you all day. This has been so fun. I really just wanted to catch back up with you because I've seen all the things you've been up to. And I really wanted to give the audience a chance to get to know you a little better. And it always helps me to get to know you a little better because we don't always get to connect because of the distance. But I'm really glad we got this opportunity. I'm so happy for you. Your book is on my list. I'm going to be buying it. I'm about to go on vacation. I'll be reading a whole bunch. So your book is on the list. I recommend everyone else check it out. It sounds phenomenal, and it's going to give me the kick in the butt I need to be more disciplined, and I'm sure everybody else will use that too. So don't sleep on Christen. She is awesome. She knows her stuff. She's beautiful, as you can tell. I just love your look, the red lips. I'm a big fan of the red lips. And the faux locks, you rock them all the time and you look great. So just kudos to you for
Thank
being that
you.
example. And I just really appreciate you being a friend of the show. We really love you here.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate you as always and just everything you're doing. I'm so proud of you. I'm so inspired by you. And listen, I just can't wait to 2021 because I just see bigger and greater and more amazing things on
Oh
the horizon.
yeah. And then I'm wondering if we're gonna have a 25 year. What do you think?
So I think honestly, after 2020, the folks are going to be looking for reasons to have something. Like we
Right, to
may have a
get
25
together.
year, a 26 year, we might have like a remix 27 year, a pre 28 year, like every year to get ready for 30th. Because at this
Right,
point, it's
right.
like, listen,
Yeah, because
we've
if we do
survived.
25, that'll be 2023.
Mhm.
So I'm
So
wondering if we're gonna start seeing some things next year
I'm
about
sure
that.
everybody is going to be looking for a reason to celebrate and party and
Mm-hmm.
just enjoy one another because we've just had one of those years where it really makes you appreciate what's important.
It
And I
does.
think, community, I think people that are positive, people that inspire you, I think the more that you can get with those people and just really celebrate them and just have a good time, I think the better. So
Sure, sure. Well, I hope to see you there. I'll be there. I don't miss one. But yeah, we'll do this again. I don't know next year. Hell, I'll have you on every year. You're one of my
listen,
favorites.
comment done. I'm so excited. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
You're welcome. Well, thank you everybody for hanging there with us. The Detroit Hustle Podcast, season 3. Catch up with us next week. Bye.